Pests beware, your fields have heroes. The Pests and Predators podcast is brought to you by Field Heroes and is powered by the Western Grains Research Foundation. Learn how beneficial insects fight pests and protect your crops. Visit fieldheroes.ca today.
Sean Haney here with RealAgriculture.com and Real Ag Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. I'm joined right now by Amy France, who is the chair of the board of directors with the sorghum growers. How are we doing today, Amy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So what's happened in the world of sorghum? Are we feeling good about 2025 or what's happening?
You know, just like other commodities, we woke up to some challenges in 2025, but not anything new. When we look at the trade war in 2018, we've been here before, sorghum specifically. So, just a background on export of sorghum, 80 to 90% of our crop that's exported was exported to China. Now, we were hit that way in 18 as well, but the thing that we have to remember, the difference between 18 and 25 is where our farmers sit financially and how much they can handle. And I worry about that. I've seen the financials, I've done my own books, and it's a different time. So, I have producers that are going to start harvesting sorghum in July. So we have 2 harvests, late fall and July for these southern Texas. So I not only have to find a home for their crop, but I need to find it soon. So trade is very much on the forefront of our conversation.
And China's been traditionally a pretty big market for U.S. sorghum. Obviously, there's some trade challenges with China, so we're looking for other markets.
Yes, and India has proven to us, we've been spending a lot of time and resources over the years, building these relationships. And we just were recently there in January with U.S. Grains Council and seeing the potential. It is enormous. Obviously, it's no secret, their population is on the uptick and continues to show that projection. And where sorghum, the whole grain can come in is, number one, we can do non-GMO, which is a huge trade barrier that's cleared, and we can walk right through that door and not have a problem. And where we see the opportunity is with poultry. So we've seen the uptick in their clean air fuel initiatives, but that leaves their poultry producers needing a grain, and that's where sorghum can fit in.
Is it a case of India isn't aware of U.S. sorghum, or are there some non-tariff trade barriers in place, or just tariffs, period?
So I don't think they were aware how easily sorghum could come in that poultry world. And ethanol too. I don't know if others are aware that corn and sorghum can be blended and used in the ethanol production. 1/3 of our domestic production is used for ethanol. So I apologize, going back though to India. I think it's just the education. So we've had trade missions here to the U.S. to show, hey, this is how you can use sorghum in your poultry production. And so as we navigate that education, doing feed trials, I think it really has opened the door, but maybe unaware of how sorghum can fit into India.
So, the Trump administration has been talking a lot about a potential trade deal with India. It is one of the countries that is mentioned a lot in these, these prospective deals they have that are right on the forefront of being signed. That's got to excite sorghum producers.
It does. We're very excited to see that India is on the trade mission for the secretary. She came to Kansas, which was one of the first stops after she was confirmed.
That's right.
Yeah.
With Senator Marshall.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And so I said, I'm a mom, and I tell my kids, don't come to me with a problem if you don't have a solution. Our problem was trade with China was eliminated. Our solution is India. So I'm hopeful to keep pushing that and making that a reality for our producers.
What would it mean if you would have the India market and China back on stream?
That would be amazing. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but letting those two markets kind of fight for our crop would be something that our sorghum producers would not be used to.
Yeah.
So excited for that potential, and I don't know how we would tangle that or how it would be tackled, but I'm excited to see how that would work.
How are acres trending?
We look at seed sales, and we're seeing that's holding steady, a little bit of uptick. So I'm in western Kansas, sitting on top of the Ogallala Aquifer, which is declining, little rain. And so this is where sorghum can really shine, for the water-sipping crop. So we're seeing a lot of those acres in drought areas really moving to sorghum, because that's where we can still make a crop without having a lot of water. So we're seeing that hold steady and an uptick a little bit.
What about genetics? Like, are we seeing enough money going into developing those new those next sorghum varieties?
So our checkoff does a really great job of using that money for those things, just like sugar aphids. That was a big issue for us. And so also seeing a lot of things trying to move that way. We are a smaller crop, so those monies are a little less. But I feel like our checkoff side has done a great job with utilizing that as well as trade. So we're moving on all the fronts. That's what we do. We like to say, sorghum's a small crop, but we can pivot very quickly. And so that's what we're doing to just really do the best for our producers and be where they need us to be.
Any idea on what percentage of the crop would be used for grazing?
There is quite a bit. So we've seen an uptick in actually at Commodity Classic. We just announced a partnership between National Sorghum, Ducks Unlimited, Dairy Farmers of America, and General Mills. So we are seeing all aspects coming together saying, hey, sorghum does this sustainability, this water conserving crop, not only just for our ground, but for our fowl and the producers and the consumers. So we're seeing an uptick in sorghum, forage acres, because it needs, again, less water than things like triticale or what have you. So definitely seeing an uptick in that in the dairy realm.
Amy, thanks a lot for joining us here today. Enjoy the rest of NAFB Washington Week.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.